time to talk about the initiatives, the referendums. We get questions. Our democracy in Colorado is so goddamn strong it's not even motherfucking funny. This is an off election year, and guess what? Even in an off election year, we've got ourselves, Christine, Conejos County both have election stuff. There's a 2-cent hike. There's a habitat, a wildlife habitat preserve. There's Amendment 78, Amendment 119, and Amendment 120. This is an off election year, and Colorado is asking us for, 4 or 5 questions or so. So an off year. I remember Kentucky, they asked us one fucking question. Do you hate the gay? One question. Do you hate the gays? And 2004 in Kentucky said, hell yeah, fuck the gays. So that was the one. And so when it comes to these questions, it's just compare and contrast, right? Are you a homophobic piece of shit? No, let's see. Amendment 78. Amendment 78 has to do with the legislature, the power of the executive and the legislature. Amendment 120 has to do with after-school programs. Amendment 119. Amendment 119 has to do with after-school programs. Amendment 120 has to do with the Gallagher Amendment and taxes, and I'll get into that in a bit. But, yeah, do you hate the gays versus, hey, what do you think about the Gallagher Amendment? When it comes to a ratio for the taxes, let's have 45% of the state's taxes come from the homeowners and 55% paid by business. That sounds to me like a very nice ratio. So that way the residents don't get hosed. So the Gallagher Amendment. The state of Colorado is asking the people of Colorado about the Gallagher Amendment. So you can't just be a dumb fucking piece of shit to live in Colorado and to be a citizen that votes. You gotta know what the hell you're talking about. So what the hell is going on with Proposition 120? Proposition is not an amendment, so you only need 50% plus 1 to pass. If it was an amendment, you would need 55%, but it's just a proposition. So Proposition 120, like I said, has to do with the Gallagher Amendment. The Gallagher Amendment is, residential property should pay no more than 45% of the state's property taxes. So out of all the property taxes, the residents should only pay 45%, and the businesses should pay 55%. That sounds right and reasonable. If we don't have enough taxes because there's not enough businesses or what have you, then just taxing the shit out of the homeowners, or you're running the motherfucking businesses out. Now you're going to run the homeowners out. You're not going to have anybody left in the state. You keep taxing. So I like the ratio. It's been around since 1982. Now, I like the ratio, but last year it was repealed. It was repealed 2020. Right, so last year in 2020, Colorado voters repealed the Gallagher Amendment. So it was law from 1982 to 2020. For 40 years, 45%, the ratio of the state's property taxes had to be 45% to 55%. So the point of Proposition 120, it has something to do with the Gallagher Amendment, because I want to say the Senate Bill 293 tries to do something with the Gallagher Amendment. Okay, so Proposition 120. What is Proposition 120? They want to reduce the residential property tax assessment rate from 7.15% to 6.5%, and reducing the property tax assessment rate for all other property, excluding producing mines and lands or leaseholds producing oil or gas, from 29% to 26.4%. So that's commercial. That's, housing versus commercial. So the housing, the residents, their property tax assessment rate is 7.15. They want to drop it, essentially half a percentage point. So, that sounds okay. And then the commercial taxes, they want to drop it from 29% to 26.4%. So that seems, simple enough, right? Lower taxes, lower the residential property tax assessment rate, and then lower the commercial property tax assessment rate, right? So, seems simple enough. Do you want lower taxes or don't you? Now, it gets a little bit more dicey. It gets more sticky. The legislature went ahead and fucked this shit up, perhaps unconstitutionally, because this Proposition 120, even though it's supposed to be across the board for households and for businesses, now it only applies to multifamily homes and hotels, bed and breakfasts, and it's for landlords, and that's it. So that means if you don't have a multifamily home, right, landlords, or a hotel or a motel or a bed and breakfast, then you don't get no tax break whatsoever. If you're a tenant, you don't get tax breaks. If you're just a single-family property owner, you're just a single-family, homeowner, you don't get a tax break. You don't get a tax break. Now, I want to be against it because of that, right? What, we're going to give hotels a fucking tax break? Fucking hotels and shit? Landlords, these motherfuckers are going to give them goddamn tax breaks? But the legislature had passed Senate Bill 293, and that had to do with the Gallagher Amendment, right? So then people are saying that they passed Senate Bill 293 one day after the text of Proposition 120 came out. So the text of Proposition 120 came out, and then Senate Bill 293 all of a sudden got passed. Now, there's one thing about Senate Bill 293. It's not completely partisan because there was a Republican that had sponsored it. There's 4 sponsors. You had Chris Hansen, Bob Rankin, Dania Esgar out of Pueblo, and Matt Gray. So District 31, District 8, District 46, District 33 was Donald Valdez. Okay, I don't know. He didn't sponsor this bill. I'm not sure. Does Donald Valdez ever get any of his shit passed? So this has Bob Rankin. Bob Rankin is a Republican. The other ones are Democrats, but Bob Rankin is a Republican. So if 293 is partisan, and, I am actually going to vote in favor of this thing, in spite of it being a goddamn right-wing thing, because lower taxes is a good idea, and you can't fuck with initiatives. So they put the initiative up, and then the legislature, perhaps unconstitutionally, probably unconstitutionally, I guess we'll find out. If it doesn't pass, say la fucking V. If it does pass, then it goes to a court, and then some court will have to adjudicate this thing. So, yeah, proposition only applies to multifamily homes and hotels, bed and breakfasts, motels, so landlords get a tax break. Tenants in single-family homes, single-family households do not get a tax break. But that is because of the legislature. They passed Senate Bill 293, which changed the definition of, some of these words and some of these things. And so that's Proposition 120 in a nutshell, to lower taxes, the residential property tax assessment rate and the commercial property tax assessment rate. But it also, there's another part to it at the very end. It sets aside $25 million for a homestead exemption fund for veterans and qualifying elderly. So that's fucking slick as shit right there, right? Get the veterans and the elderly on your side. And, we're going to lower taxes. And you know what? We're just going to throw $25 million to the veterans and to the qualifying elderly. So the way it reads is $25 million of excess state revenue, if any, for state fiscal years 2022 to 23 through 2026 to 27 as a voter-approved revenue change to offset lost revenue resulting from the property tax rate reductions and to reimburse local governments for revenue lost due to the homestead exemptions for qualifying seniors and disabled veterans. So, there you go. I don't know too much about the Homestead Exemption Fund, but apparently some of us is getting money, right? Some of us are getting government money. They're probably a bunch of anti-government fuckheads, right? But they take government money and then they speak crap about the government, but they're the only motherfuckers getting any goddamn cheese from the fucking government. Who's bringing home the bacon? Who goddamn is getting the pork from the government? Huh? The pork, the bacon, the cheese? I'm not getting none of this shit from the goddamn government. No bacon, no pork, no cheese. More than 70% of the rental properties in the Denver metro area are 7 units or fewer. Okay, so now I'm just going to tell you facts and what other people have said, and then I'm going to end it off with my grand conclusion. So this might be the boring part, but you know what? We need to figure out what the hell these damned. Okay, so you have more than 70% of the rental properties in the Denver metro area are 7 units or fewer. So that means most landlords in Denver own only 7 properties. Poor landlords, poor corporate landlords, poor capitalists. He only has 7 rental properties. He's only charging $1,000 per 7 rental. He's only making $7,000 off of their blood, sweat, toil, and tears to help his mortgage, to fatten up his own bank account. Poor landlord. They only have 7 units or less. Most of them, 70%. So I guess that's supposed to make us feel sorry for landlords. Well, they're just small landlords. They're not big landlords. They're not like these corporate conglomerates that got like, conglomerates that got like 200 units. And, I just got 6 units and I charge $1,000 for. I just, fuck over 6 working class family with my 6 units. It's, you don't understand how hard it is for me, the landlord. I mean, I got to, take care of my property, and then I got to make sure that these other assholes that's living on my property pay for my, mortgage and make sure I'm able to pay. So anyways, yeah, go ahead and the working class, you take 80% of the working class's money, right? Take 80% of the working class's money for your own fucking... Okay, Proposition 120 is backed by a right-wing activist group, Colorado Rising Action, right-wing activist group, Colorado Rising Action. That means I want to be against it. I want to be against it, but I'm splitting the difference, I think. When it comes to Amendment 78, I think I'm going to be against Amendment 78 and in favor of this one. Because I think that, liberals do need to be checked. We can't be spending too much money, and we need to make sure we respect the three branches of government, and all the tools of democracy, initiative, referendum, and recall need to be protected. So I don't like them fucking with initiative. And, taxes is ridiculous, and it's kind of I think they're afraid that it's, do you want to drop taxes down a 0.5 percentage point? That's going to pass, and so I think that makes sense. The legislature got pissed off or scared, the Democrats, that, this Republican idea is going to pass. And then they tried to throw some shenanigans into this other thing that they were working on. Since it was repealed, the Gallagher Amendment was repealed. I guess that's what Senate Bill 293 is to fix the Gallagher Amendment. They went ahead and, kind of also tailor-made the language to make sure that Proposition 120 only affects hotels and motels and, bed and breakfasts and hotels, motels, and multi-family units. So, fucking duplexes. So, Senate Bill 293 is the mother of all bombs. It seems that it attempted to blow up Proposition 120. Colorado government seems to be intimidated by Colorado Rising Action's Proposition 120. So 293 SB seems unconstitutional. I guess we'll find out later. Colorado Apartment Association, insanely, they say that cutting property taxes by approving Proposition 120 will help make rent more affordable because property owners include the cost of property taxes in the cost of rent. Oh, yeah, okay, right. That's exactly what the fuck, a landlord would tell a tenant. If you save me money, then I'll save you money. Okay. So you're telling me once, Proposition 120 passes, the landlords are going to be so overwhelmed with gratitude at all the savings and taxes that they're getting that they'll just lower rent by $100 or what? Give 1 month of living free? Yeah, right. Landlords, they're not going to lower goddamn rent. They're not going to give any fucking perks whatsoever, ever, even if they save some money in taxes, right? So, yeah, they're supposed to be so overwhelmed with gratitude at all the savings and taxes. This ain't no fucking stimulus. They will save a little bit of money, and that will help nothing. That won't help the economy whatsoever. It'll just help that individual. So, yeah, Denver Gazette on Proposition 120. Yes, on Proposition 120. How often do you get a chance to cut property taxes while thumbing your nose at the lawmakers who tried to stop you? Proposition 120 will lower property tax assessment rates for apartments and other multifamily housing as well as lodging properties like hotels. If not for the outrageous treachery of our very own legislature, which passed legislation last spring to sabotage and undercut this citizens' initiative, Proposition 120 also would have cut assessment rates for single-family homes and other kinds of real property. That would have saved hard-pressed Colorado homeowners and other property owners over $1 billion a year, yet the roughly $200 million in property taxes Proposition 120 still a cut over a 2-year period will benefit a lot of Coloradans and warrants a yes vote. Again, this is the Denver Gazette. And if talk of a lawsuit to reverse the legislature's dirty trick comes to fruition, Proposition 120 could cut the full $1 billion. And that'll save the public a bundle while wiping that smirk off the lawmakers' faces. So vote yes. You want to see their damn smirk? Wipe that fucking smirk off their goddamn face. Is their fucking smirk. And then the other thing was, what, the thumbing their nose? Yeah, you want to thumb your nose? Who thumbs their, thumbing your buck teeth is better, right? Yeah. Fuck you, right? That's better, thumbing your nose. Thumb your buck teeth. You want to thumb your buck teeth at the goddamn lawmakers. You want to wipe the smirk off the law. I do want to wipe the smirk off their damn faces. Reminded me of that weird Larry Elder ad. Gavin Newsom, you look like The guy that stole my girlfriend in high school. It's about you, Gavin Newsom. Definitely appealing to the beta male with that ad. So, okay, Bill Owens has jumped into the conversation, right? So, the Denver Gazette is yes on Proposition 120. And they're correct. You know, we're lowering the taxes. Legislature did try some shit. The power of initiative is a very powerful democratic tool. So, if you care about the republic, if you care about democracy, if you care about rule of the people, if you care about America, then, you know, if you care about democracy, there's a lot of people that don't give a shit about democracy. They went to public schools, so you just listen to a fascist dictator piece of shit instead of actually, you know, learning anything about freedom and democracy. So, $200 million in property taxes, Proposition 120, still will cut over a 2-year period that will benefit a lot of Colorado. Okay, so Bill Owens, this is the former governor, 40th governor of Colorado from 1999 to 2007. He was a state treasurer, state senator, state representative. Okay, fucking shit, Bill Owens, you're goddamn qualified to say something. Okay, so Bill Owens, he's actually going to be a little bit hypocritical because they're sitting there saying, well, what about the initiative process? Amendment 71, you know, a couple years back was to fuck over, you know, the legalization of marijuana, which, well, that's the initiative process. It was a reactionary thing. So it was a right-wing reactionist who eviscerated goddamn initiative, the power of initiative with Amendment 71 a couple years back, and now the right wing wants to protect the initiative process. Yeah, you want to lower your fucking taxes, you right wing fuckers, but if, you know, you get on, you know, the power, you're talking about the power of initiative to me, I will fucking listen to you. You're talking about referendum initiative and recall, to me, that's very powerful tools for the people. And as a citizen of the people, of the populace, I want to keep all the powerful tools that we got. Motherfuckers want to throw this shit out. So I don't like, you know, the fact that there's even an argument that could be made that they're fucking with initiative. I don't even like that there's an argument that can be made that the Democrats are fucking with initiative. Democrats, stay within your means, stay within your lane, don't spend too much, and, whatever I was saying with this. And, you know, don't respect the 3 branches of government and respect the tools of the people, the democratic tools of the people, initiative, referendum, and recall. If the Republicans got the fucking thing on the thing, good for them, right? Get your own goddamn ballot measure on the thing. Don't cheat. Don't be a fucking cheater. They got it on the ballot, let the people decide. You can't fucking cheat. That's bullshit. So, you know, I'm glad Bill Owens is finally on my side when it comes to initiative. In the closing days, this is Bill Owens, verbatim, in the closing days of its 2021 legislative session, the Colorado General Assembly took an unprecedented and, I believe, unconstitutional action designed to block the citizens' constitutional right to pass laws by initiative. One day after Proposition 120's ballot language was set and couldn't be changed, several Colorado lawmakers introduced Senate Bill 293, which changed definitions in the tax code in order to prevent Proposition 120 from becoming law after its passage by the voters. The bill was passed and signed into law. Fortunately, Colorado's Constitution is durable and designed to repel such attacks on direct democracy. Article 5, Section 1 of Colorado Constitution is clear. The people reserve themselves the power to propose laws and amendments independent of the General Assembly. And it is absolutely clear. The power of initiative is the people get to put the initiative up and the people get to vote on it, and the powers that be, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch, has to take a back seat. It all has to come from the consent of the governed. Democracy means ruled by the people. So if there's no people voted for it, or then it's the Colorado legislature's actions to subvert a citizen ballot initiative is not only an exercise in arrogance, but clearly unconstitutional. Even if SB 293 survives constitutional scrutiny, I believe Proposition 120 will still become effective after passage by the voters, because the Colorado Constitution explicitly provides that if the two laws conflict, the newer law prevails. So that's a former Republican Colorado governor right there saying, shenanigans. He's calling shenanigans and saying, let's go ahead and pass Proposition 120, and hell, maybe we might even get the damn, or was that the other one? Maybe we might get the $1 billion, anyways. That's what the other one was saying. But I'm sure he had something interesting to say. In a Sentinel Colorado story explaining Proposition 120, estimates revealed that Arapahoe County schools and governments would lose about $17 million a year in revenue, $13 million in Adams County, and $7 million in Douglas County. The losses aren't staggering, but the gains, even to commercial property owners, aren't compelling. The only selling point to the measure is that some of the money would be used to shore up local programs that provide some property tax relief to select seniors and veterans. Even then, the backfill only goes to counties that provide such programs and don't guarantee them. So this is somebody that wrote, no, we don't want this. And it's a very compelling argument, and, it's probably where most Democrats are, but I'm kind of getting away from the two-party. I'm not sure if I'm going to be a Democrat by the end of this year. So we won't argue that's because the Castilla County Democrats are just such fucking pieces of shit. So we won't argue that ensuring housing remains affordable for all Colorado residents is a serious problem, but Proposition 120 would do nothing to address the issue and would gouge already struggling schools and local governments at the same time. Vote no on Proposition 120. The big wrinkle with Proposition 120 is that state lawmakers this spring rewrote the property tax code in a way that significantly reduces its scope. Under the state's new, more granular property tax law, Proposition 120 would apply only to multifamily properties and lodgings like hotels and bed and breakfasts. The new tax law does offer some relief to rising property values and includes a 2-year temporary rate reduction. It also allows homeowners who experience a rapid increase in home value to defer their increased taxes until they sell their homes. I didn't read that in the damn text. What are they talking about here? The new law says a 2-year temporary rate reduction. And then, okay, so Democratic State Senator Chris Hansen, who co-sponsored the law. Oh, okay, this is Senate Bill 293. They're talking about Senate Bill 293. And he's saying that it's targeted and responsible way to address property taxes, as opposed to a permanent across-the-board cut, which is what the Gallagher Amendment is and which is what this Proposition 120 is about. He warned would have significantly undermined services as the economy is trying to recover. So they got to get that money. The goddamn Colorado government's got to get that money. Because the law passed after Proposition 120's language had been approved by the state, it was too late for the proposition's backers to adjust. Field said that should allow Proposition 120 to pass. His group intends to go to court and argue the legislature broke the rules with this maneuver. So I go back and forth with this. Yeah, it's a right-wing thing, but taxes is bullshit. We need to stay within our means, progressive, liberals, if the Democrats are even progressive. And I guess they're all about spending, right? They really like the goddamn spending. I like the Gallagher Amendment, so we don't hose the residents, so we don't gouge the residents, so we don't ream the residents, the homeowners, Goddamn, if the businesses aren't producing enough taxes for, all the services that we need, now we're going to have to fucking rape the goddamn homeowner. That's fucking bullshit. That's bullshit. So, Democrats, I am, more lefty than a righty, progressive, liberal, and so therefore, in general, I don't mind paying my fair share of taxes as long as the government is doing something for me. But what the fuck is government doing for me? What the fuck is government doing for me? So at first I'm like, no, the tax cuts is just going to go to multifamily units, so just landlords and fucking hotels. They're assholes. You ever talk to a hotel fucking manager or landlord? They're fucking pricks. We're just going to give tax cuts for the landlords and the hotels? That's where I was at first, right? Landlords of buildings, the capitalists, right? Make sure the capitalists get a fucking break, but not the rest of us. Landlords, all they do with multifamily units is they make sardines of people. They pack a bunch of motherfuckers in a goddamn tiny-ass building so they could charge them more fucking rent. So landlords with multifamily units, and then because of this, how many people are going to try to make multifamily units now? Oh, that wasn't one apartment. It was actually 3 apartments. But then I don't like Senate Bill 293. I read some of the text of Senate Bill 293, so it doesn't seem like it was specifically designed just to fuck over Proposition 120. But I can't say that it wasn't, some of the language in it wasn't. And then people said that they were bragging about it. So it feels very much true. Also, Bill Owens and several of the Republicans, have been repeating it. So, they seem to believe. Here's a little bit. The act repeals a moratorium on changing the ratio for valuation for assessment assessment rate, which is the percentage applied to a property's actual value to determine the taxable amount upon which a mill levy is imposed, and classifies agriculture property, lodging property, and renewable energy production property as new subclasses of non-residential property for purposes of the valuation of the assessment, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, you know, a tax overhaul, right? Is that what the fucking Senate Bill 293 is? Senate Bill 293 is a tax overhaul bill, which is, I don't know, kind of a holy shit there. Like, what the fuck did they do there? So, anyways, I believe the legislature pulled some kind of shenanigans here. Senate Bill 293 will stand if Proposition 120 fails, but if Proposition 120 passes, now you got a conflict. And I think that Proposition 120 will take precedence over Senate Bill 293, which means you'll need another Senate Bill 293, 2.0, version 2, You'll need, whatever. So Proposition 120 will take precedence over Senate Bill 293 if it passes. And that's, the power of initiative. Also, let's take a look at Senate Bill 293. Let's see what they actually fucking done. What kind of, goddamn new definitions and words. What the fuck are they doing? And let's just put it in front of a judge and, put these two things together. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. You're lowering housing and, commercial taxes. That's what the question is asking. That's what the people voted on. Now, just because there's some shit in the background, that's not what the people didn't know about the shit in the background. They just know about what the question had asked them. So this also doesn't bode well for Amendment 78. Amendment 78 is trying to say take the power away from the governor and give it to the legislature. Well, if we're going to give it to the legislature, that's the people's house. That's where I would think that the money should go, or the power should go. But, because we're closer to our state reps and our senators in general, right? The people's body, the legislature is supposed to be the people's body, and the governor is like the dictator, the three branches there to prevent tyranny. But I barely hear from our rep, Donald Valdez. When we got a great governor like Jared Polis in there, it makes me lean more towards the governor. But that's Amendment 78. That's Amendment 78. Give power to the legislature? How can we give power to the legislature if they try to pull shit like this? Give power to the legislature so they could try to, destroy initiative, referendum, and recall, so they could try to take away the democratic tools that make, Colorado fucking great. So, ultimately, I land with the goddamn right-wingers on this because, yes on Proposition 120 because taxes fucking suck, and because initiatives, referendum, and recall is fucking awesome. I love the power of initiative. It's very important to me. If a person was able to get a ballot measure on the ballot for we the people, then it's up to us, we the people, to figure it out. The legislature wouldn't have pulled any shit if they weren't actually threatened by the ballot measure. The ballot measure, which shows the sheer power of just the goddamned idea. Just the idea of a tax cut. So, I don't like the idea of them fucking with initiatives, and I don't like taxes, so I vote yes. I don't see any of my taxes, state, local, federal government coming back to me. I don't see the fire protection, the police protection, the crap libraries, the roads, electricity, the hydroelectric dams. What the fuck do I get out of paying all these goddamn taxes? Property and sales and motherfucking permits and this and that. What the fuck do I get? Democrats run Colorado, and I want that to continue because it's smart, to spend with it, to stay within your means, to only pay for what you can afford. So Democrats need to be constrained to a limited budget. I want a government that pinches their goddamn pennies just as much as we working class people have to do. I am a goddamn progressive. You're goddamn right. I don't mind paying my fair share of taxes for programs we all love. But I don't get none of these goddamn programs we all love. Where's my UBI check? All these old people get Social Security. All these motherfuckers got government fucking jobs. They take Social Security, they got government jobs, and then they want to speak against the fucking government like the hypocritical fucks that they are. Government got you a job. Government got you a check. Shut the fuck up. So I don't get no food stamps. I don't get no lie heap. I don't get no Social Security. I'm not there to help my goddamn family. No housing. No HUD. What the fuck do I get in my taxes? What do I get in my Colorado government? So, taxes is bullshit. Initiatives are awesome. If the government could do some more fucking goddamn shit for me, you legalize marijuana, good fucking job, motherfuckers. Can you do anything else? Is that about it? Is that all you could fucking do? I guess we released the gray wolves. So there you go. Initiatives are awesome. Taxes suck. Vote yes on Proposition 120.